My name is Jesse Kohler. I have been working with CTIPP's board for the last 7 or 8 months, I would say. I am currently the Director of Development at Northlight Community Center, which is located in Philadelphia. And I think that, I'm only 25 years old. I'm on the younger side of the CTIPP board for sure. But I bring some fundraising experience, which I think I can help benefit for CTIPP in the long run. I got invested in the trauma-informed movement from an early age, just life experience. Even though my ACEs score is 0, I have experienced unique, there's some complex trauma that's built in my life. When I was 13, I went through an eating disorder where I choked on a piece of food, and any time that I put a piece of food near my mouth, vicious anxiety attacks. Didn't eat for 4 months. I started to get over that, build the resilience, and then when I was 15, my best friend and his dad passed away. Their plane collided with a helicopter, and that was obviously traumatic. It was difficult to cope. Again, started to build resilience, and I kind of, without knowing the terms, learned what post-traumatic growth was, right? I saw how adversity could build strength in the long term when there were relationships there to guide you. I also understood how it could very easily go the opposite direction. Without relationships, without supports, it could crush you. I was privileged and fortunate to have the supports that drove me forward. Continued to live through those. Life continued to happen. Some adverse moments, some absolutely enthusiastic, great moments. And then I graduated college, went into a master's program. So I got a master's in educational leadership after a year of working at the school district of Philadelphia. And during my internship, during my master's program, I got an internship with the Attorney General's Office of Pennsylvania, working for Josh Shapiro, more specifically working for the Executive Deputy Attorney General for the Office of Public Engagement, whose name is Rob Reed. And without my knowing much what trauma-informed care was, I was tasked with helping to develop the Pennsylvania Trauma-Informed Care Network. And that's really where, my life experiences had taught me a little bit about what it was, but that's where I dove into the ACEs study. That's where I learned about the work that Sandy Bloom and Bruce Perry and Diane Wagenhals and Bessel van der Kolk, and I'm trying to name all of them because everybody deserves their due diligence. I apologize to everybody that I didn't mention. But I just kind of dove headfirst into there during my master's program and had the privilege of going to a MARC conference, which is Mobilizing Action Resilient Communities. And I got the chance to meet Sandy Bloom. I got the chance to meet Diane Wagenhals. And that was my 24th birthday, the MARC conference when I went with you guys, or when I went with Sandy and Diane. And they just something lined up where they really took me under their wing. I got introduced to Lakeside, and I've been going through the process of becoming a trauma competent professional through their continuum of education, professional development specifically. And through the process, I have been getting more and more engaged in the trauma-informed movement to where 7 or 8 months ago I joined the CTIPP board, have helped out with some fundraising ideas, some PR marketing, social media strategies, and am just getting involved now as the orchestra leader for a committee on really putting together hard data on what the cost of trauma is to our nation, and really beginning to venture in to a little bit of the pitch of why trauma-informed care is so important, how it's going to save us in the future, how it can unite the country. We heard a lot from Dan about how this isn't a partisan issue. It's not like this only applies to Democrats or only applies to Republicans. Growing up in the 90s and 2000s, there was a lot of political division, and wanting to go into politics myself, without being too brash, my goal for the last 10 years at least has been to be the President of the United States. That could be longer. Not saying that that'll happen, but doing my darndest. Aim high, and we'll see where we fall. But it's really one of the few issues, I'll say, right now in our world that could unify people, because everything else is so divided. And the importance of coming together and building community in order to move forward toward a better future. Because we are coming to a critical edge where, with climate change, with the impending number of people on the planet, which is just utilizing limiting resources more quickly than they can replenish. And there are some serious issues that we have to solve moving forward for society. And trauma-informed care will not solve all of the issues. But it's a heck of a first step to start moving in that direction together. And that's kind of what I see CTIPP's role as, not in solving climate change overall. But again, it really is that first step together that will actually begin to build steps, as we see with another board member, Bob Doppelt's work, where within climate change even, we can talk about building resilience, the need for adversity, or not the need for adversity, but the growing amounts of adversity that we're all facing, and the need for resilience to kind of overcome that adversity. And which will then, again, lead to new conversations about how to approach climate change from a holistic level, and really diving below the surface level policies that are so often created because term limits are short and the need is to get reelected. Enough of that, right? We need to come together, and for 400 million people in the United States, for 7 billion people globally, we need to figure out how to address the critical needs that we all face as we then take steps forward to solve all the issues in the world.